All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is 1 o'clock because we got a brand new chapter of Jujutsu. So we kind of need to go over some things before we continue with this chapter. So let's get the formalities out of the way, shall we? Yo, peoples! Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to yet another live reaction to Jujutsu Kaisen. Last we left off, we had Yuji and the entire crew that sided with Gojo just going over the probabilities of these two enormously powerful Jujutsu sorcerers, one known as the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer in history, and another called the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer of today, Satoru Gojo versus Ryomen Sukuna. Now, it gets to a point where the question is posed, what happens if these two supremely powerful individuals used a domain expansion at the same time? Well, we find out that both of their 100% guaranteed hit attacks dissipate, and they are no longer, they don't work. So it's just an endless struggle between Infinite Void and Malevolent Shrine. But the thing that causes Sukuna to win over in this domain expansion struggle is the fact that his domain is not limited within the domain space of a regular domain expansion. Unlike regular domain expansions, Malevolent Shrine is capable of being manifested in reality itself. So, instead of Malevolent Shrine creating its own separate space away from the real world, it can manifest itself into the real world and then cause damage and affect the environment as normal, which is a big example of what we saw way back in the Shibuya incident when his domain expansion pretty much erased an enormous portion of the city. So, and in the process, Gojo gets cut directly in his neck because Sukuna's domain overrides Infinite Void, and then Gojo winds up getting cut in his neck. Now, before I continue with this new chapter, Cides, good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the first time we have seen Gojo ever draw blood, ever since his fight with Toji Zenin, or Toji Fushiguro in the past, in Gojo's past. This is the second time in history in the history of the series that Gojo has been injured. Now, a lot of people are wondering like, oh no, did Sukuna actually get an edge out on Gojo? A lot of people are forgetting that the last time Gojo got injured, this man perfected all of his techniques, came back with an air of like, wow, between heaven and earth, I alone am the anointed one. I alone am the exalted one. And then he pulled out Hollow Purple for the first time and took out an individual, the first individual we know of that had heavenly restriction, and allowed him to fight against curse users all this time. No problem. Literally made a job of him taking out regular Jujutsu sorcerers. So this is the second time that Gojo has been injured. And mind you, the last time Gojo also got injured, he got stabbed in his leg multiple times, got cut all over his body, and then got stabbed in the head with a cursed tool. But Gojo came back. Blood all over him, but not a single wound to be seen. And then he took out Toji Fushiguro without issue. So my thing is, this is the second time Gojo's been hit, and the dude went ballistic last time. So what is he going to do now? Does Sukuna actually have an advantage over Gojo? Or is Gojo about to go like, alright, it's time for me to fully open both of my eyes and fight you for real? Let's find out in today's chapter. And after today's chapter, we're going on break for Jujutsu, which means that the only chapter we're going to be getting next week is of My Hero, because One Piece is also on break as well. And then we begin the chapter. Chapter 226, Inhuman Makyo Shinjuku Showdown Part 4. And we see Malevolent Shrine in the real world, and much of the area pretty much destroyed because of Sukuna's dismantling. And we see a spray of blood coming out of Gojo's neck, and he's putting his hand towards it. And then Yuji is screaming, "Sensei!" And then, unsurprisingly, unsurprisingly, Gojo uses reverse curse technique and just heals up his neck instantly. The blood just stops and the wound just starts to heal itself. He used reverse curse technique. And then it cuts to the lawyer. Yes, but Sukuna's slashes won't stop inside his domain. And then it cuts to Choso. Since Sukuna doesn't close his barrier, wouldn't running away be easy? And then we get Kinji going, if Malevolent Shrine's maximum effective area is about the size of Shibuya, then Gojo should be fast enough to get away. Then it cuts to Kusakabe. No, his instantaneous movement uses limitless curse technique to compress space and coordinates. Gojo's domain was just destroyed, so he can't use his curse technique for a while. And then it cuts to Miwa. But that means... Yeah, Gojo's in trouble. And then it cuts to Sukuna, who's still using Malevolent Shrine, and just standing there, because he was smirking that he actually cut Gojo in the neck. And then it cuts to... Gojo, who goes, I'm glad. As Sukuna continues to use Dismantle, he just uses Dismantle. He just uses Dismantle on Gojo over and over and over again. And you see Gojo's body just get covered in cuts. Like, Gojo gets cut all over his body to the point where his entire body is just covered in blood. You can't even tell that a person's underneath it. And Sukuna just hits him over and over with Dismantle and Cleave over and over and over again. I think Cleave is for curse users, and Dismantle is for non-organic things. He just uses Cleave on Gojo over and over, and you just see cuts all over Gojo's body. But inside his mind, Gojo's going, I'm glad. With regard to curse technique, I'm overwhelmingly... Wait, I think this is Sukuna going, I'm glad. With regard to curse technique, I'm overwhelmingly stronger. As he just continuously cuts Gojo's body over and over. But Gojo is fine. And then he dashes from that spot. And as he's running, Sukuna goes, you think I'd let you go? And it cuts to Sukuna, who's just hitting Gojo, and Gojo is still healing himself with curse technique. And then when it looks like it looks like Sukuna gets Gojo in a leg lock. And Gojo almost hits Sukuna, and he just punches the ground and it craters a little bit. He moves well for someone using reverse curse technique at full throttle to keep my slashing attacks at bay. Apparently, Malevolent Shrine Center isn't Sukuna. This is Gojo going, apparently, Malevolent Shrine Center isn't Sukuna. It's the shrine itself. And then it cuts to Yuji. What if that shrine was trashed? Well, and then it cuts to Kusakabe, who's just speaking. Everyone's speaking right now. Ordinarily, concrete manifestations of innate domains don't have special meaning or function. In other words, they might as well not exist. And then it cuts to Mei. If the shrine is merely a symbol of the domain, then it can't be broken. There's no point to trying. If Gojo with his 6 eyes hasn't attempted to do so, then that must be the case. And then he cuts to Kirara, who goes, oh no! Is there nothing he can do? And then we get someone going, new shadow style. New shadow style. And it's Gojo with this new shadow style. Simple domain. And then it cuts to Kusakabe again. Simple domain. Didn't Gojo Sensei say he can't do that? No, he said he can't teach that. No, he said he can't teach it. Natural geniuses can't teach for squat. Then don't make a guy like that a teacher for first years. And then it cuts to Gojo, who's still healing his body with reverse curse technique. Like, his body's covered in scars now, but it's all healing up because of reverse curse technique. And then it cuts to Choso, who goes, like, there's a lot of fighting between Sukuna and Gojo, but we're getting a lot of play-by-play from everyone else who's just watching. Simple domain will negate the guaranteed hit, while he heals himself with reverse curse technique. How can he do reverse curse technique and normal cursed energy control at the same time? But compared to a real domain, the cursed energy output for simple domain will merely buy time. And then it shows Sukuna, who just runs towards Gojo, whose body is completely healed. And then they dash past one another, and then Gojo's right behind him. But then Sukuna hits Gojo, and Gojo gets hit with even more slashes across his whole body. See? Simple domain! How tedious. And then Yuta looks on, that lightning curse user looks on, Kinji looks on, and then Kusakabe goes, "What the?" And then it cuts to Gojo, who's fighting Sukuna, but he's not healing. Gojo stopped healing with reverse curse technique. Does that mean? No. Does that mean? No, he wouldn't run out of cursed energy. Under ordinary circumstances, he wouldn't. But he continued running reverse curse technique full blast immediately after opening his domain. He's expended twice the usual amount of cursed energy, all while the powerful Sukuna has been attacking non-stop. And then it cuts to Gojo, who's just steadily clashed with Sukuna, but he's not healing. And then we get the words, "Is Gojo going to lose?" And then it cuts to Gojo, who's wrapped around. Then it cuts to Gojo, who's wrapped around Sukuna with his legs, and he's holding on to him. His speed just now. Curse technique reversal. And then it cuts to Gojo, who's holding on to Sukuna with his legs, but he's pointing his fingers at him. And then it cuts to Yuta. Is that possible? Maybe he couldn't heal his body because he was using reverse curse technique to heal his burnt out curse technique. What? And then it cuts to Gojo, who goes red. And then he hits Sukuna and sends Sukuna flying back into Malevolent Shrine. And Sukuna's hurt because he's bleeding. So all of this was to... What? What do you mean Gojo used reverse curse technique to heal his burnt out curse technique? He used reverse curse technique to recover quicker from basically his domain expansion cooldown and his curse technique cooldown. He not only used reverse curse technique to heal himself, but he also did it to buy time so that his curse technique could come back faster and he could use it. And then he ends the chapter with curse technique reversal, red, and then just shoots Sukuna directly into Malevolent Shrine itself. And he doesn't outright destroy it, but he sends Sukuna flying directly into it as he just flexes and he starts healing his body after using reverse curse technique reversal red, as Sukuna just looks at him, but half of his face is like just royally messed up. And then all we get from the end of this chapter with Gojo is, whew, this wasn't easy. And that's the end of the chapter. Like, let's just go over the fact that Gojo used reverse curse technique to keep himself from being killed by Sukuna's cleave technique. And then he kept using reverse curse technique on his body full throttle, non-stop, in order to keep Sukuna from just completely eviscerating his body. And then use simple domain to, give himself a little bit of breathing room. And that caused Sukuna to let down his guard, allowing Gojo to latch onto him and then shoot a curse technique reversal red directly into Sukuna's face. Directly in his face. We've seen curse technique reversal from a distance. Such as when he was fighting Jogo, or when he was fighting that big giant curse techniques, that big giant red curse during Jujutsu Kaisen 0. We've seen that at long range. It's just like a red orb, and then anything in that direction is just absolutely blasted. But when it comes to people who get hit point blank by this, like face first, only Sukuna's capable of surviving it. And he's just left staring in the direction of Gojo after being shot back into his own domain expansion. Like, back into his own Malevolent Shrine. Thought you were doing My Hero at 1? Okay, so here's the thing. I kind of started early. That's my fault, Ogata-san. I should have put it up in the community post as well, because I got home early. I got home at like 12 something. I got home. But yeah, I've already did my reaction to My Hero Academia. I did that at 12:30. And I should have put it in the community post. That's on me. That's on me. It's not you. You're not late. It's just on me. But this chapter, Gojo's really out here using like the highest form of curse techniques in order to keep up with Sukuna. Because the thing is, Sukuna just goes ham on Gojo and just completely eviscerates Gojo's body. But Gojo is not even remotely concerned about it because he keeps using reverse curse technique full tilt in order to keep himself alive and bide for time. And that at the same time, use reverse curse technique to cause his curse technique to come back even quicker so he can start using reverse curse technique. Because when a domain expansion is used, you can't really use your curse techniques for a while. Wait, 12:30? It's 12:15 here, so you on the east side of America. Yeah, I've always been on the east side. I live in North Carolina. But, the fact that Gojo was able to use reverse curse technique to not only heal himself, but also have his curse technique come back into use even quicker, while he's keeping tabs and fighting Sukuna, who keeps trying to kill him, just shows you how quickly Gojo is able to assess a situation. See, here's the benefits of the Six Eyes. Here's the benefits of the Six Eyes and the Limitless. The Six Eyes causes your mind to process things at speeds far quicker than the average person. It basically turns you into a processing supercomputer. So Gojo is able to process everything around him with lightning speed, assess it, and then respond accordingly. So for him to come up with like, okay, if I use reverse curse technique, not only can I keep myself healed, but I can also bring back my curse technique quicker since my domain expansion was expelled. Like, we need to go back through this when they're talking about it. Because here's the thing, Yuji's saying that, because Gojo's able to use simple domain. And Yuji goes, didn't Gojo Sensei say he can't do that? But it was corrected saying, like, no, he can't teach it. He can do it, but he can't teach it. Simple domain will negate the guaranteed hit while he heals himself with reverse curse technique. How can he do reverse curse technique and normal cursed energy control at the same time? It's Gojo. The Six Eyes and the Limitless allows him to do these types of multitasking very efficiently and very easily. And I still stand behind the fact that him being inside of that prison realm all this time, over like 2 years, being stuck in, well, at least 2 years our time. He's been stuck in there for like over 1,000 and something days. But for him to be stuck in there, there's no way that Gojo was in there just doing nothing. He had to have been, like refining his own curse technique control and everything in his mind while he was in there. So Sukuna doing all this stuff to Gojo, I mean, he's prepared for it. Like, the fact that he got slashed in the neck, which is the first injury we ever seen him have, and he just responds by instantly using reverse curse technique. It's like, of course, Gojo would do this. But compared to a real domain, the cursed energy output for simple domain will merely buy time, as it shows Sukuna running into the domain itself. And then it shows Sukuna slashing Gojo up in the face, and Gojo continues to use reverse curse technique to keep himself healed, and then uses simple domain again. And then he stops using healing in order for his curse technique to come back because, so that way he can, have enough energy to use curse technique reversal red. But at the same time, we all know that he doesn't exactly run out of cursed energy. So that's the benefit. Even though they're saying, like, he's already gone through more than half of cursed energy output. Like, where is that panel? Where is that panel where it's saying, like, he's already gone through half of it? Where is it? It was the other guy. Where is it? Where is he? Where is he? There it is. Under ordinary circumstances, he wouldn't. He wouldn't run out. No, does that mean no? He wouldn't run out. Wouldn't run out of cursed energy. And this is Yuta saying this. And then the guy with the baklava goes under ordinary circumstances, he wouldn't. But if you continue to running reverse curse technique full blast immediately after opening his domain, he's expended twice the usual amount of cursed energy, all while the powerful Sukuna has been attacking non-stop. And the fact that he still hasn't run out of energy, and he has enough to latch onto Sukuna, hold on to him, and then use Curse Technique Red against him. Because even Yuto was looking like, is that possible? Because he's wondering, like, is it possible for Gojo to use Curse Technique Reversal Red? And then he comes up with the idea that maybe he couldn't heal his body because he was using a reverse Curse Technique to heal his burnt out Curse Technique. So basically, Gojo has learned that if you use reverse Curse Technique in a different way, you are capable of making it so that your Curse Technique that are currently on cooldown, I say cooldown, your Curse Techniques that are on cooldown after using a domain expansion, that cuts the cooldown time in half. It's like a legendary heat sink from Cyberpunk. Once you get those, your downtime for your cyber abilities, they get reduced monumentally. And Sukuna just gets hit with Curse Technique Reversal Red and sent flying right into Malevolent Shrine. And earlier on, they were talking about what happens if you destroy Malevolent Shrine. And May basically said that if the shrine is merely a symbol of the domain, then it can't be broken. There's no point to trying. And yet, Sukuna gets launched into Malevolent Shrine and pieces fly off. Which means that the Malevolent Shrine is not just a simple symbol. It may in fact be the crux of his domain. So if that gets destroyed, then Sukuna's Malevolent Shrine, his whole domain expansion should dissipate when you think about it. Because if it, like May said, if it was just simply a symbol, then there would be no point in trying to destroy it because it couldn't be broken. But clearly, Sukuna gets sent flying into his own Malevolent Shrine itself, and pieces just fly off. Like, I'm looking, and there are pieces that just fly off as he's launched into it. Like, I'm making sure that I'm not looking at this wrong, but he does in fact get launched into the Malevolent Shrine and pieces fly off. So that means that Malevolent Shrine itself is not just merely a symbol, it's the crux of the whole Curse Technique. Will I do another stream today? I don't know, because later this evening, we're going to be going out to eat with my dad later this evening. So even if I got back, it would probably be like after 6 or something if I did something. But tomorrow's a different story. So we'll probably do something tomorrow after I'm done reading One Piece. But this was a good chapter. I enjoyed Jujutsu. There was a lot more going on in Jujutsu than there was in My Hero Academia. Gojo is just steadily keeping on. And the only thing he says after all this was like, whew, this wasn't easy. It was all like, whew, it wasn't easy. And he's just casually healing himself with reverse Curse Technique. Now, his reverse Curse Technique is very, very refined to the point where the scars that he has all over his body, I don't think those are going to stay on him. Or they might stay on him and he's just covered in scars. But if I know Gojo, he's going to heal himself to the point where he doesn't have any scars over his body at all. But, yeah. Despite Sukuna's domain expansion overriding Gojo's Infinite Void domain expansion, Gojo is still the one knocking Sukuna around. Mind you, Sukuna has yet to use any of the 10 Shadows techniques that he's stolen from Megumi. So, there's still that's going on. Gojo has just been dealing with Sukuna using his own curse techniques, but he hasn't dealt with Megumi's techniques against him yet. So, we're just gonna have to see where we go from here the week after next, because we're going on break. I forgot today's Father's Day. If you can't tell him Happy Father's Day, I'll let my dad know. And I said this during My Hero Academia. It's not gonna lie, it's not looking good for Gojo. It would appear that way. I just wonder how long can he last fighting Sukuna? That's a very good question. It could literally go any way. Because even though Gojo is incredibly powerful, I mean, this is Sukuna. He's called the King of Curses for a reason. So Gojo's got his work really cut out for him. Fighting pretty much the most powerful individual he's ever faced before. The last time he faced off against Sukuna only had like one finger. We haven't even seen the best of Sukuna. No, we haven't, because we haven't seen him use Maharaga's wheel that allows him to adapt and resist other techniques. Because remember his fight with Yorozu? And he basically used Maharaga's wheel to make it so that her curse techniques wouldn't really work on him. He hasn't used that yet to go up against Gojo. Because I honestly feel like Sukuna thinks that he probably doesn't need to use the 10 Shadows techniques to go up against Gojo, because he feels like his own techniques and his own strength is enough to take him on. But I feel like it's going to get to a point where Sukuna is all like, okay, he's actually starting to cause me some trouble, so it's time to bring out the 10 Shadows. So we'll see if it gets to that point. We'll have to see. But we got to go on break, and we're going to be like, we're going to have a whole week where we don't know what's going to happen next. But that's my overall reaction to Jujutsu Kaisen. Gojo's out here still surviving against Sukuna. Who knows how long it's gonna last? Will things move in Gojo's favor? Will things move in Sukuna's favor? It's anyone's guess. Because while everyone else seems worried, I still feel like Gojo is still messing around. Even though, you know, he's getting cut up and everything, he's not heavily breathing. He's not worried. He's not thinking like, am I going to lose or anything of that nature. He's just taking everything in stride, regardless of everything that actually happens to him. So we're just going to have to see the week after next week because we're going on break. But I'm done, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to hit up the family and see what they're doing right now. Maybe grab myself something to eat and then relax a little bit before we go out to eat with my father this evening for Father's Day. To all the fathers who are out there watching right now, happy Father's Day to you. Hope you have a fantastic day with you and your loved ones. Make this day your day. Enjoy yourself. Thank you for being there for us growing up, especially the fathers who stuck around, because not all of them did, but fathers who stuck around for their families, who cherished their families, loved their wives, loved their sons and daughters, and did the very best to be providers for their households. Thank you, fathers, for all that you do. I know we hype up moms a lot, but we got to hype up fathers as well. So thank you, and happy Father's Day to you. Enjoy yourself. To everyone else, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new, well, if you enjoyed what you saw here today, I'm still working on making that seamless for my outro. If you enjoyed what you saw here today, then like, subscribe, share this stream with everyone you know, because the more the merrier. And maybe even consider becoming a member, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples.